oil is unacceptable, underlining Washington's stand that New Delhi was fueling Moscow's war economy, and that has triggered the punishment tariff from Donald Trump at 50%. Here's the report.
The American President Donald Trump decided to raise tariffs on India to discourage Russia from continuing its war in Ukraine.
Look, the president has put tremendous public pressure to bring this war to a close. He's taken actions, as you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions as well. He's made himself very clear that he wants to see this war end. And he has scoffed at the ideas of others that have been raised that we should wait another month before any meeting takes place. The president wants to move, and he wants to bring this war to an end as quickly as possible.
Within days of the meeting with European leaders and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, U.S. President's trade advisor Peter Navarro, in an op-ed published in Financial Times, attacked India for fueling the Russian war economy. He called on India to stop buying Russian crude oil, accusing the Asian giant of undermining international efforts to isolate Vladimir Putin's war economy. He wrote, and I quote, "In effect, India acts as a global clearinghouse for Russian oil, converting embargoed crude into high-value exports while giving Moscow the dollars it needs," unquote. Navarro described India's dependence on Russian oil as opportunistic, adding that if India wants to be treated as a strategic partner of the US, it needs to start acting like one. A day later, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, in an interview to CNBC, accused India of profiteering of reselling sanctioned Russian oil, as opposed to China.
But if you go back and look pre-22, pre-invasion, 13% of China's oil was already coming from Russia. Now it's 16%. So China has a diversified input of their oil. If you go back and look now, I believe India had less than 1% of their oil, 1%, and now I believe it's up to 42%. So wow. India is just profiteering, or they are just profiteering. They are reselling. They've made $16 billion in excess profits, some of the richest families in India. So this is a completely different thing. Like this India, what I would call the Indian arbitrage, buying cheap Russian oil, reselling it as product, has just sprung up during the war, which is unacceptable.
The Donald Trump administration has designed to put secondary pressure on Moscow by slapping tariffs on India. The U.S. has effectively doubled India's tariff burden to 50% by adding an extra 25% on top of the earlier 25% levy. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, we have a special guest this evening. Joining me is former National Security Advisor for President Trump in his first term, Ambassador John Bolton. He's joining us live. Thank you, sir, for taking the time out and joining us live and taking our questions back home in India. My first question, sir, and I want to take it off from the meeting of President Trump with President Putin. Now, President Trump, Mr. Bolton, laid out, if one can call, the red carpet, welcomed Putin in Alaska, a military flyover, a ride in the presidential limousine, completely courted Putin, possibly ending his international isolation. According to you, Ambassador, did Putin clearly have the upper hand? Something which has been criticized by Trump, of your opinion.
Yeah, I think Putin has been able to reestablish in Trump's mind that they're friends again, and Trump sees international relations through the prism of personal relations. And I think Putin has demonstrated again his KGB agent training in his efforts to manipulate Trump. So I think that the Russians have escaped Trump's threat of additional sanctions on purchases of their oil and left India as the only country, not China, not Russia itself, not Turkey, not others, that have been subjected to sanctions. To be clear, I think the purchase of Russian oil and gas is something India should move away from. But part of the problem here is the way the sanctions themselves have been set up. And if Navarro and Besson have trouble with that, there are things they can do to change the sanctions and then give India a chance to comply.
Well, Ambassador Bolton, I'm glad you're saying it for what it is, as sanctions and not tariffs, of what is the official communique on that. But taking off from the meeting with President Trump and President Putin, now one thing is very clear: there is no ceasefire yet. Talks will have to take place even as the war is on. Putin seems to have made it very clear, and it's evident that his peace plan is practically exactly the same as what was the original Kremlin stand. So nothing really has changed where Putin comes from.
No, Putin hasn't changed a bit. His objective is still to reincorporate Ukraine into a greater Russia, to recreate the Russian Empire. Putin's been telling us this publicly for 20 years. No surprise.
Now, do you see President Trump here completely blinded by possibly the lure of a Nobel Prize, being manipulated by President Putin?
Well, I think everybody's trying to manipulate him. They can all see that he wants the Nobel Peace Prize, but I think the European leaders and Zelensky came to meet with Trump on Monday to try to provide a vaccine or an antidote to the meeting with Putin in Alaska the Friday before. And I think this is now going to go back and forth. I don't see any substantive change by anybody. And I don't blame the Ukrainians. If I were in their shoes, I wouldn't concede anything either. But I don't see the basis on which negotiations can proceed. What Trump wants to do is kind of bounce everybody into an agreement that he can then take credit for. If it falls apart later, I don't think he's so worried about it. He can then blame it on other people. But he wants this to add to his list of accomplishments, like solving the conflict between Pakistan and India a few months ago, that make it 7 wars out of 7 this year that he's ended. The record doesn't demonstrate it, but this is Trump, the PR expert, trying to campaign for a Nobel Prize.
Because if you did look at it, Ambassador Bolton, and maybe you can weigh in on it, because it did seem that President Putin wanted to talk about everything else but Ukraine. He really did not want to address the situation in Ukraine. He's very happy the way things are, it seems.
Well, I think he is, but what he proposed to Trump by many reported sources is he demanded the cession by Ukraine of about a third of the Donetsk province, a big part of the province that the Russians haven't been able to conquer, which I think Putin knows is unacceptable to Zelensky and the Ukrainians. So he's trying to put them in the position of being the party that obstructed Trump's peace efforts. You're quite right that he really wants to talk about the bigger picture, the overall relationship with the United States, because he thinks that puts himself in a better frame in Trump's view.
Right. But Ambassador Bolton, because where ceding of any land is concerned, it would require a referendum back in Ukraine. Politically, at least right now, it could be impossible. Or do you think it's a different play field?
No, I think the Zelensky government would be in real trouble if it gave up any substantial portion of Ukrainian land, even in just a ceasefire. Not talking about sovereignty questions here, at least in the near term, but just what happens in an interim ceasefire or truce while negotiations go on. I think Zelensky would be hard-pressed to give up anything. It's true that polls in Ukraine show a very, very large percentage of people want to have peace. Why wouldn't they after 3.5 years of attacks on their civilian population by the Russians? But equally high numbers show that they don't think that Russia's aggression should be rewarded.
Ambassador Bolton, European leaders that we saw sought security guarantees for Ukraine, very similar to Article 5 of the NATO treaty, which would mean any attack on Ukraine will invite retaliation from NATO countries. However, you have President Trump that's clarified in an interview that it cannot be NATO. Trump has added that US troops won't be stationed in Ukraine. Has he once again, somewhere down the line, thrown Europe under the bus?
Well, I think it has been his position and reaffirmed this week as well that he doesn't want American boots on the ground in Ukraine. It would have to be Europeans. And although there was some talk of American air power, it's very unclear whether Trump means American combat aircraft or American cargo aircraft to carry in supplies for whatever European may be on the ground. This is all very unclear. And it shows why, despite all the diplomatic effort, all the pomp and circumstance on the substantive questions of how a truce or a final agreement would look like. They're just nowhere near it.
Ambassador, I was reading your opinion piece after the Alaska summit. You seem to have argued that Ukraine needs now firm assurances of continued US and European military aid. Trump has since said security guarantees would come from Europe in coordination with the US, ruling out ground troops but leaving open the option of air support. Do you believe this approach can realistically work, or do you think it's a far cry?
Well, I don't think Trump is fully aware of exactly what he's promising. I mean, he has said on the positive side that we would continue to sell equipment, weapons, ammunition, and the like to Europeans who could then pass it on to Ukraine. But this is hardly the kind of role that I think it's appropriate and important for America to play to help Ukraine on the strategic side so that they can put themselves in a better negotiating position. And I just don't think Trump's thinking through the specifics.
But, Trump is known, Ambassador, for his transactional diplomacy, especially in the recent past. Ukraine has offered now to buy arms worth $90 billion. Will that sway him?
Yeah, I think he's very happy about that. But I think he recognizes that he still hasn't brought the two parties closer together. And in fact, this morning in Moscow, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov was quoted as saying the Russians are not going to accept any security guarantees or forces in Ukraine that they haven't participated in helping to shape. Now, that's a pretty outrageous demand, but I think it also shows once more that the Russian position is just as firm as it was before last Friday.
Ambassador, I'm just going to take 2 or 3 questions from you regarding the geopolitics of it and implications of it where India is concerned. Now, experts seem to suggest that US President's tariff, along with perceptions of a very diminished American role in the Indo-Pacific partnerships, have accelerated efforts to stabilize an India-China relation. In the past, and you'd know that Washington has actively encouraged India to counterbalance Beijing in the region. Now, how do you view the recent thaw in India-China ties? Of course, we are coming off Operation Sindoor, where we actually thought we fought a proxy battle with China and not Pakistan.
Yeah, look, I think the reaction in India to grow closer to China and Russia is very unfortunate, and that's why this question of the sanctions against India alone, not Russia, not China, not others, pose more problems than they solve. I think you have to look at the long term here, and that is that China is the principal threat in both East and South Asia, and its increasing axis with Russia puts Russia increasingly on China's side. I think that's the strategic future, and I think that's what India should be focused on.
But the hypocrisy of America has put India in a situation where, China continues to buy oil from Russia, but we face tariffs in the form of sanctions. The question I'd like to ask you is, Ambassador, with Trump now imposing sanctions, we'll call it steep tariffs on India, the US-India relation is practically at an all-time low. You previously had called 50% tariff against India a mistake in the bilateral relationship. Can there be a reset in India-US ties?
Well, I think this is a Trump mistake. It's shooting ourselves in the foot, and I think that has to be taken into account. This was no decision endorsed by the U.S. Congress or overwhelmingly by the people. This is part of Trump's effort to win the Nobel Peace Prize, and it's I understand the reaction in India. I do, but again, I think you have to grit your teeth and look longer term here at what I think is the best interest of both countries in the future, to have a closer relationship, to worry about the threat that China poses.
Ambassador, my final question, while India-US ties are under strain, clearly, there seems to be, which has made us rather uncomfortable, an increasing bonhomie between US and Pakistan. Now, how do you view the US-Pakistan ties right now, and what could be the future geopolitical dynamics of that concerning India?
Well, I think, again, this perhaps stems from the controversy over the terrorist attack in Kashmir, and Trump taking credit for resolving and lowering tensions between Pakistan and India. I think a lot of people around the world were concerned about it. I think, obviously, as in the case in 2019 in the terrorist attack in Kashmir, where I participated. These were decisions primarily made by India and Pakistan in their own good judgment. So it's important to try and keep this in perspective, and to remember that Trump is an aberration in American politics. And although we've still got 3.5 years to go, I concede that that's not necessarily the permanent direction of U.S. policy.
Ambassador, appreciate you taking the time out and joining us. Thank you there. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, viewers, let's quickly move on to the other big development today. The NDA candidate nominee for vice president filed his nomination. Vice presidential election 2025 is clearly now South versus South. Today, like I pointed out, BJP-led NDA named Maharashtra governor, former Tamil Nadu BJP president C.P. Radhakrishnan as its vice presidential candidate. Opposition parties have fielded Supreme Court Judge Justice B. Sudarshan Reddy from Telangana as its candidate for the upcoming vice presidential elections. Tomorrow is going to be the nomination of the UPA, or rather the opposition candidate. NDA candidate C.P. Radhakrishnan filed his nomination earlier on Wednesday, with Prime Minister Modi by his side as the chief proposer. Top NDA leaders were also present there, showcasing a strong display of unity. Tomorrow on Thursday, opposition's vice presidential candidate Justice B. Sudarshan Reddy will file his nomination papers, and the opposition wants to make a meal of it, where sitting chief ministers of the Congress and opposition parties will come into the national capital. Even though, if you look at sheer numbers, it is a battle already possibly won by the NDA, and it would be Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan who will be in the chair of the vice president, because numbers stand with the NDA. The elections come on the 9th of September. But there is going to be a fair amount of optics involved in all of it. Let's quickly go through the possible reasons for opposition's vice presidential choice. Number one, the idea was to bring someone with great credibility who is not from a political sphere. Number two, choice of Justice Reddy counters NDA's choice of Radhakrishna that they thought would put Dravidian parties in a bind. With Justice Reddy in the fray, now Telangana parties, as per, of course, the opposition would be in a bind. But viewers, you had the TDP who immediately came out and pledged support to the NDA candidate. You had the YSRCP saying, we've already given our support to Rajnath Singh. He was the one mediating from NDA, and we are not taking our support back. The BRS has now come up with a conditional support for Justice Reddy, where they want urea to be given free in the state of Telangana to farmers by the incumbent Congress government. So a conditional support base there. The NDA candidate is, if you look at a counter, comes from a strong RSS background, while the opposition choice comes with a strong judicial background. If we put Governor C.P. Radhakrishnan and Justice B. Sudarshan Reddy side by side, measure their individual strengths and weaknesses, the first point of strength that comes across is while C.P. Radhakrishnan is a known political figure, Justice Reddy is an apolitical figure. Number two is C.P. Radhakrishnan's strong administrative experience. He has been the governor of Jharkhand, lieutenant governor of Puducherry, governor of Telangana, incumbent governor of Maharashtra. And Justice Reddy has decades of experience in the legal system. So two very different worlds that they come from, where Justice Reddy has also served as a judge in the Supreme Court. Next would be their South India connect. While C.P. Radhakrishnan is the NDA trump card for Tamil pride, Justice Reddy brings the Telugu identity in the forefront. Finally, C.P. Radhakrishnan lacks recognition in national politics. He is an RSS and BJP veteran leader, but has faced multiple electoral wins as well as a few defeats. Justice Reddy, on the other hand, has zero political exposure, and it could prove to be a bit of a disadvantage for a constitutional role tied closely with parliamentary procedure. All right, so there you have it. We've tried to give you both strength SWOT analysis of both the candidates. Let's cut across to our quick political face-off for the evening. Joining me, Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson, BJP, Dr. Shama Mohammed, National Spokesperson, Congress. You will both get a 2-minute time to put your point forward. Dr. Mohammed, I'd like to begin with you. Many would have thought that this was a great move to have somebody from Telangana possibly checkmate the TDP and YSRCP, like possibly what the NDA did with the DMK. But there's a huge section, Dr. Mohammed, which says that this is a lost opportunity, because in any case, the TDP and the YSRCP have supported the NDA candidate. You could have had somebody from Bihar, somebody who's a Dalit, somebody who comes from the EBC quota.
Well, let's understand one thing. Their candidate is an RSS man, a former BJP president of Tamil Nadu. So we can understand that he will be completely supporting the Bharatiya Janata Party and the government in parliament. This particular person believes in Manusmriti, whereas our candidate, Sudarshan Reddy ji, is a former Chief Justice. He upholds the Constitution. He believes in equality, justice, and inclusivity. We know that at this point of time, the integrity of all our institutions are in danger. ED, CBI, NIA, IT, everything is taken over by this government, including the Election Commission. That time we need somebody to give gravitas to this particular seat and who is impartial. That is very important. We saw the last vice president who suspended around 143 members of parliament at one go, which has never happened in the history of India. Bills passed in the din. Constitution, for example, now Constitution Amendment Bill brought in one day before the session is getting over. Many bills not even passed on to the standing committee. 70 ordinances passed in the past 10 years or 9 years. Sorry, 7 years they passed 74 ordinances. So we want a system where it's a democratic system, where the vice president of this country is non-partisan and believes in democratic principles and wants to uphold the constitution. We know the Bharatiya Janata Party wanted to cross 400, 400 par. Why? Because they wanted to change the constitution of this country. And we know that from many of their leaders, including the deputy CM of Rajasthan, had said it on live television. So we want somebody we believe that there is a way, there will be people who will support him. There is definitely, he is Andhra's pride as well as Telangana's. So definitely there's the TDP,
Okay.
there's YSRCP.
So, but Dr. Mohammed, the TDP has already said very clearly that they are not supporting the opposition candidate, that they're going with the NDA candidate. The YSRCP has made it clear that we've pledged support to the NDA candidate. We stand with the NDA candidate. I'll circle back to you with the question, because there is a big opinion that this was a lost opportunity. In any case, you don't have the numbers in the House. You would have lost this election. Optics would have demanded, and possibly an election in 2 months in Bihar could have demanded you pick up a Dalit or an EBC candidate from Bihar to get the optics right. I'll come back to you on this. Let's bring in Sanju Verma if we have her. Okay, do we have Sanju Verma? All right. We're going to get in Sanju Verma, but I'll give you the opportunity, Dr. Shama Mohammed, to make your point on this. Wasn't it a better pick to maybe get somebody from the state of Bihar? You have an election in a month and a half. You're fighting, on the SIR cause there. You could have got somebody who's Dalit. Here you've picked somebody who's from the upper caste.
Yeah, one more thing before I come to that. I know that Sanju Verma is not here, but after she comes in, I'm not going to be staying till the debate is going to be delayed because of her. I'll have to leave.
Ma'am, she's here. She's here.
Yeah,
but make your point.
My point is that we do not believe in seeing that there is an election coming up. That is how BJP functions. They will see if there's an election coming up from Haryana, they will be putting somebody from Haryana. If there's an election coming from Odisha, they would take somebody from Odisha. That's the way they function. What we look at it is somebody who's impartial. We want somebody who's impartial to sit there, who believe in justice, and who believe in inclusivity. There is no inclusivity anymore. We always see Muslim bashing in this country, OBCs and Dalit bashing in this country. So we want somebody who believes in inclusivity, who believes in justice. So we are not going to say there is an election over there and play these vote bank sort of politics. We chose the right person at the right time, and we believe there is a case for him, and there is a probability that he is going to win because we've got the right person in.
All right, ma'am, you have 50 more seconds. Do you want to use that?
No, let her speak.
Okay, fine. That's very magnanimous. I want to go and bring in Sanju Verma into this conversation. Sanju Verma, the fact is many thought that you tried to checkmate the DMK. You have an election next year, razor sharp messaging there that puts DMK in a spot. DMK had been asking for representation. You gave the DMK representation. Could they deny it? Well, lo and behold, the same question was put to your closest ally, TDP. So that in itself gets negated, Sanju Verma.
Preeti, first and foremost, my apologies to all of you for being a tad late. Coming to the, moot question that you've asked me, I think first and foremost, let's get one thing very clear. There is, a membership of 782 members in the Electoral College, which will elect the vice president. The number that the BJP-led NDA needs is 392. Now, how many members does the BJP-led NDA have? It has 426 members vis-a-vis the 392 that are needed, which means we actually have 34 more than what we need if we have to win the vice president's election. So the first point is, when it comes to numbers, the BJP-led NDA is going to have a smooth sailing on this count. C.P. Radhakrishnan will be the next vice president of India. The second point I want to make is this. Why not somebody from Tamil Nadu? Is it because of an eye on the 2026 Tamil Nadu Assembly election? I say no. But even if the answer is yes, what's wrong in it? I mean, we are in politics to ensure that, our own people are there in positions of power to ensure that the policies that we believe in, which is basically Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas, those are consummated. Then the third point I want to make is this: BJP, Preeti, walks the talk. We ensured that somebody from the minority community, a Muslim called APJ Abdul Kalam, became the president. When the first Dalit president, K.R. Narayanan, was the Congress's candidate, the BJP supported him unconditionally, setting aside ideological differences. Then look at Draupadi Murmu. She is the first tribal woman president from the Santhal tribe from a remote Mayurbhanj district of Odisha. Who could have imagined that a Santhali tribal Adivasi woman will be the president of India? That the BJP under Narendra Modi ensured that an Adivasi becomes the first tribal woman president. So we have actually empowered the marginalized. We have
Your time is up. I'll go back to Dr. Shama Mohammed. Dr. Mohammed, the fact is, if it was a move which clearly there is strategic politics involved behind the move, which was to pick somebody from the state of Telangana, but it hasn't quite worked, at least would you agree, even if it was symbolic or tokenism. The TDP, clearly, whoever the mediators were not able to build consensus that the TDP support your candidate, a close ally of the BJP. Neither the YSRCP, even with its handful of MPs, could have sided with you. It's in opposition in the state of Andhra Pradesh, yet it didn't. The BRS today from Telangana has only given you a conditional offer, which seems improbable for your government to fulfill in Telangana.
Okay, so let me get one thing very clear. She said, why not a Tamilian? We have nothing against a Tamilian. I mean, full respect to Tamilians. Of course, for them, or for all of us, there's a Tamil Nadu election next year. But the thing over here is, why an RSS man? Why a former BJP president? They could have selected some other Tamilian. There are many others in Tamil Nadu they could have selected. They selected a former RSS man so that he's a puppet and he listens to whatever they want to. And they can function according to what they want. Now she mentioned Abdul Kalam. What is the point of symbolism, Sanju Verma? When the Prime Minister of India in the last election says, कांग्रेस पार्टी बहस को लेके मुसलमानों को देंगे, कांग्रेस पार्टी मंगलसूत्र छीन के मुसलमानों को देंगे. Every other day you bulldoze houses of Muslims, you take them and put them behind bars. There were 2 cases in Maharashtra, 2006 bomb blast and the Malegaon in 2008. When the result of the 2006 came, Devendra Fadnavis was quiet. I mean, when it came out, he went to the Supreme Court to file against it why they were acquitted. 2008 Malegaon blast, when they were acquitted, Since it was Pragya Thakur, he was quiet. So what are you saying? Where have you stood with the Muslims in any way? We don't want symbolism. Where have you stood with Dalits in any way? Dalits are being killed left, right, and center in northern India. They cannot ride horses. They cannot go to wells. Where have they? You have taken away their forests and given it to the Adivasi forests have been given to business people. So where have you protected them? Symbolism is not what we believe in. We believe in empowering, and that's why we have chosen Sudarshan Reddy ji, because he's a former Chief Justice. He knows what are the rights of people. He will be not partisan, supporting us or them. He will be, equal. He will give justice to everybody. He will.
Okay. Ma'am, your time is up. The critique also, Sanju Verma, you say you've picked an OBC, but the OBC that you have picked is one of the strongest castes right now in Tamil Nadu. Annamalai comes from the same caste as Mr. Radhakrishnan. EPS comes from the same caste as Mr. Radhakrishnan. So really, this particular segment of the OBC is not backward. Number two, Sanju Verma, the fact that you say he represents the common man, you have Mr. Radhakrishnan, who is an astute and an exemplary industrialist and a businessman. If we get into his business empire, it's a different thing. Number three, he is a dyed-in-wool RSS pracharak from the age of 16. So when the opposition makes a point that it's the House of Elders, it's the upper house, you could have chosen anyone from any field. Why him?
Preeti, now let me answer everything pointedly. First and foremost, Shama Mohammed said, Prime Minister Modi undermines Muslims. What have you done? You only intimidated them. Here are the hard facts for your audience. Let them be the judge. 31% of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana allocated for minorities, especially Muslims. 33% of Ayushman Bharat Yojana allocated for minorities, especially Muslims. 36% beneficiaries of Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana are Muslim women. 37% beneficiaries of Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, the world's largest self-employment scheme, are Muslims. Under Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi's first term, 3.7 crore children from minority community, including Muslims, were given scholarships for higher education. And in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's second term, that number of scholarships to minority children went up to 5.8 crore people. And in the third term, it will only increase exponentially. Now, the other point. So what if C.P. Radhakrishnan is a RSS veteran? C.P. Radhakrishnan was also the Tamil Nadu BJP president from 2004 to 2006. He is somebody who has organizational experience. C.P. Radhakrishnan was also two-time parliamentarian from Coimbatore, so he knows the lay of the land in terms of how the parliament functions. C.P. Radhakrishnan is also somebody who's a die-hard loyalist. When in 1999, Jayalalitha brought down the BJP-led NDA government, she asked C.P. Radhakrishnan to switch over. He refused to. And I say BJP rewards loyalists like C.P. Radhakrishnan. That is something that needs to be applauded, not condemned. And my final point is this. You talk that BJP does not, empower Dalits. हिम्मत है तो सिद्धरामैया को कर्नाटका से निकाल दो and make G. Parameswara, who is a Dalit, the Chief Minister of Karnataka, remove Revant Reddy as the CM of Telangana and make Mallu Bhatti, who is Mallu Bhatti, the Deputy CM of Telangana and a Dalit. हिम्मत है तो Mallu Bhatti को तेलंगाना का CM बनाओ. So you need to walk the talk, not the BJP.
All right, I'm going to give both of you 1 minute each, but Sanju Verma, I'll just come in for a rebuttal. You do know Mr. Dhankar fought an election on a different ticket, not the BJP. So just loyalty bit. But I'm going to give both of you 1 minute each. Dr. Mohammed, 1 minute closing comments.
No, my closing comment is she went on a rant and she forgot, which I was going to point out, which you already pointed out, that Dhankar is not a loyalist. So how did you give it? Because of the Haryana elections. See, this is how you function. When there is an election, you will go after that person and then you will... Now, she gave Ankades or, data about Muslims, which is a lie after lie after lie. The worst treated in this country are Muslims today. Why don't you have a single member of parliament who's a Muslim? Tell me, give me an answer. A minister, many ministers, Ashwini Vaishnav, never asked to resign. Number of rail accidents. Minister of State, Lakhimpur Kheri happened. Minister of State, I can't recall his name, not asked to resign. But of course, only one person has resigned for Me Too, and that is MJ Akbar. So you cannot deny it. Always lynch mobs, attacking Muslims, no issue. Bilkis Banu's rapist I mean, nothing bigger than that. Released on remission, asked to do prachar campaign for the Bharatiya Janata Party. This is what.
Ma'am, your time is up. 1 minute, Sanju Verma, we'll come to you, make your point, and on that account, Ms. Verma, with what Dr. Mohammed also said, that Jagdeep Dhankar was a political choice, and there's nothing wrong. The BJP is not shorn of making political choice. You wear it on your sleeve.
You know, Preeti, this is a very sane debate. So I don't want to come down to that level. Oh, you know, Pratibha Patil, who was the first woman president, her only claim to fame was that, you know, she was the chef of Sonia Gandhi. I don't want to reduce the debate to that level. But here, I will not take kindly to statement that Muslims are being marginalized. If they are being marginalized to some extent, you know, I think the big problem lies with educated Muslims who do nothing for the marginalized lot. They only sit on television debates and shed copious tears playing the victim card. I think educated Muslims need to stop playing the victim card. People like Shama Mohammed do nothing apart from sitting on television and saying, "Arey, hamare saath bura ho gaya, rone lagti hai, hamara kuch nahi hua." Learn to fight for your rights. Stop playing the victim card, because you will only empower young Muslim women if you do something for them, not sitting on television debates and crying like a failed loser, which is what you are.
All right, ma'am, the time is up, and I'm going to leave it at that. Once again, I urge both of you not to get into personal attacks. It's something which really doesn't cut it. To be honest, the viewers hate it, but it's your choice. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you, both ladies, for joining us, putting their party perspective forward. With that, viewers, I'm going to quickly get into a break. When we return, we're going to shift focus on something horrible that happened this morning, where the Chief Minister of the national capital was attacked by somebody. Why? We're getting you the details.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
I choose a world where we care and we dare to love. I choose a world where we dream and the limit is the sky. And this world is my home where I'm living my best life.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics.
Living my best life.
Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
मंगलदीप, दिल से करो बात भगवान के साथ।
मंगलदीप धूप कोन्स 2 गुनी खुशबू के साथ दे पूजा का बेहतर अनुभव।
All eyes on you.
How has he seen a doll?
Gotta hat on spin, never blending, dripping in, dripping like it's so clean.
Moto G96 5G.
All eyes on you.
Hello, Moto.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
All eyes on you.
How has he seen a doll?
Gotta hat on spin, never blending, dripping in, dripping like it's so clean.
Moto G96 5G.
All eyes on you.
Hello, Moto.
My birthday gift to पापा। ये उनके पापा की पहली गाड़ी एक गराज में पड़ी थी दार्जिलिंग में। फिर 3 मैकेनिक, पेंटिंग, पॉलिशिंग। जब इसे फाइनली घर लाया ना, तब लगा लाइफ में ग्रो किया है। बुलाओ।
SIP करो, इन्वेस्ट करो, लाइफ में ग्रो करो। प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
Hi, here are the top headlines presented by Motorola. 130th Amendment Bill introduced in Lok Sabha. Bill sent to JPC. Rahul slams new amendment bill. Says country returning to medieval times. NDA's president candidate CP Radhakrishnan files nomination.
With the NDA candidate. I'll circle back to you with the question. The Delhi Chief Minister, clearly not a gentleman. All right. So this is the video of the man who attacked the Delhi Chief Minister this morning, wrecking the area outside the private residence of the incumbent Delhi Chief Minister. You see him outside her residence and then sitting in the waiting area of the same residence. What happened? A shocking breach of security at the Delhi Chief Minister's residence. Rekha Gupta, the Delhi CM, was attacked during her usual Jan Sunwai hearing. India Today now brings you an inside story of that one moment or 1 minute of horror that unfolded at her residence and the chilling twist that followed.
हाँ, अब बात मेरी हो रही है, तो समझ लो असली बदलाव शुरू हो चुका है।
A routine Jan Sunwai at the Delhi Chief Minister's residence, and then a shocking breach of security. An attack on Chief Minister Rekha Gupta herself. The attacker, 41-year-old Rajesh Bhai from Rajkot. India Today accessed exclusive details of the 1 minute of horror inside the Chief Minister's home. Rajesh first approached her with documents. Then, in a sudden move, he pounced on the Chief Minister. He pushed the Chief Minister. He pulled her hair, refusing to let her go. Cops struck his hand to free her, and within moments, he was finally overpowered.
मैं लाइन में लगा हुआ था, बिल्कुल करीब था। मैंने देखा वो बिल्कुल गंदे कपड़े, शराबी की हालत, हाथ में कुछ कागज ले रहा था। वो डायरेक्ट वो अटैक करने को आया। अब इतनी सिक्योरिटी होने के बाद भी सीएम पे कोई हादसा कर रहा है, ये बहुत चिंताजनक बात है।
देखिए, चोट उनके हाथ में आई है, उनके शोल्डर में आई है और उनके सर में आई है। तो अभी डॉक्टर उनको देख रहे हैं और उसके साथ में क्योंकि पुलिस केस है तो एमएलसी भी बन रही है और एमएलसी की जो आएगी रिपोर्ट वो आपको बताई जाएगी।
Now the big question, what was the motive? Investigators reveal he wanted his jailed relative freed. A desperate plea that turned violent. But there is another layer. His mother says he was disturbed after the Supreme Court order on stray dogs. That he has mental health issues, violent enough to attack even his own family members.
રેખા બેન ને જ કહું છું, રેખા બેન ને જ કહું, અમારી મહેરબાની કરજો, ગરીબ માણસની વિનંતી। હવે છોકરાએ જે કર્યું એ તો મને પછી ખબર નથી, ફડાકો માર્યો એમ કહે છે।
And then the twist. A CCTV footage dated August 19th showing Rajesh Bhai filming outside the Chief Minister's personal residence.
People have been trying to understand the security lapses, the motive behind it, whether it was pre-planned or whether it was in the heat of the moment that he ended up committing that very attack. In itself, self-explanatory at this given point that it might actually have been a pre-planned attack, given that he's seen wrecking the area and in depth, so, and also speaking to people to grasp what exactly is the area all about, to understand the location very well, right outside the Shalimar Bagh residence of the Chief Minister.
A chilling recce, raising the question, was the attack pre-planned then? Moreover, the police now states that contrary to his family's claims, Rajesh has no member in jail. The BJP has alleged conspiracy.
उसके हाथ में कोई जन सुनवाई का कागज भी नहीं था और क्योंकि उसके मोबाइल से पुरानी वीडियो मिली है कल की, जो जब वो वहाँ पर शालीमार बाग गया है और यहाँ की वीडियो भी मिली है। इससे बहुत बात स्पष्ट होती है कि मकसद जो था वो हमला ही था।
ये बहन हमारी 18 घंटे जनता के बीच में काम करती है और इनके स्वभाव में है कि जनता से जाके मिलती है, तो उसका असर उस अपराधी ने उठाने की कोशिश की है।
Aam Aadmi Party leaders have condemned the attack. For her part, the Delhi Chief Minister, in her first reaction after her attack, has vowed that her outreach to the people of the capital will continue despite the physical assault on her.
इस हमले में अभी तक कोई वीडियो नहीं आया है जो इतने देर में दिल्ली पुलिस दे दिया करती थी अरविंद केजरीवाल के मामले में। कोई सीसीटीवी फुटेज नहीं आया है, तो हम चाहेंगे कि वो फुटेज वगैरह भी दी जाए ताकि आरोपी को लोग भी पहचान सकें और उसके विषय में अगर कोई जानकारी है तो लोग दे सकें।
As the probe deepens and Rajesh remains in custody with attempt to murder charges now filed against him, one question towers above all. How safe is the Chief Minister in her own home? Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, joining me for a quick chat on this is Yashowardhan Azad, former IPS Secretary, Security Special Director, Intelligence Bureau. Mr. Azad, the fact is, it's not the first time that the Chief Minister of Delhi is attacked. And I want to make a distinction of Chief Ministers of other full states and the Chief Minister of Delhi, because it might be the first attack that Rekha Gupta ji has faced, but we've known it to have happened multiple times, even with the earlier Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. There is something seriously wrong with the security of the Delhi CM. What is it?
Well, I don't think something is seriously wrong because, you know, number one, when we talk about security, it's a question of access control. The access control means that right at the gate, only those people go who are allowed to enter. This man didn't carry a weapon. So till that extent, it was perfect. The second is that because she's a Z, now this is the technical part, being a Z plus protectee, she needed one layer of security before she met anyone. The problem with all the chief ministers is that they dispense with security around to have a closer interaction with the people. And that is why it has happened every time. In Bihar, there was a chief minister who was slapped with coal tar when he went to the Nakshal belt in front of so many people. Now, the question is, whenever you have Jan Sunwais like this, and I have attended many, there should always be a rope line strategy. That means people who are coming. For example, if this man is suffering from mental health issues, more the reason the CM should be protected because he could have even grabbed her, neck. So it's a very, very serious and an unfortunate thing which has happened. If you have a rope line, there should be just a distance, at least of 3 to 5 feet between the person and the CM, and the police fellows should be the last line of backup. In this particular case, unfortunately, the politicians dispense with that, and they should never do that. And even the security man should stand firm. That is what has exactly taken place and which has resulted in this unfortunate incident.
So, Mr. Azad, you're not making a distinction between other states and Delhi, because usually it is seen that Delhi chief ministers, seemingly, and correct me if I'm wrong, sir, have weaker securities than other states.
No, not really. I mean, CM security all over is basically the same. It's a Z plus security. I mean, and
so you're saying it's the same?
Yeah, Z plus category is from the yellow book, so everything is the same. It depends how you conduct the security drills and how you do it on ground.
Right. I'll ask you a quick political question, because in all of this, the Aam Aadmi Party has jumped in and said, where's the video? You've already slapped the person with an attempt to murder charge, and everyone should have access to the video, because earlier on in the times of Arvind Kejriwal, whenever he was slapped multiple times. There was ink sprayed on him multiple times. The video was readily given out by the Delhi police.
Yeah, I think, but in any case, whoever is the CM, the video should be released. I mean, if it happens in America, you saw the case of presidents, when something happened like this, it was released. And I think it should be released for people to see.
All right, Mr. Raza, thank you for taking the time out and joining us on this debate, or rather your opinion on it. Thank you. Appreciate it. With that, viewers, it's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. On the other side is my colleague, Gaurav Sawant.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
I choose a world where we care and we dare to love. I choose a world where we dream and the limit is the sky. And this world is my home where I'm living my best life.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics.
Living my best life.
Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
All eyes on you.
How has he seen a doll?
Gotta